Each country has its own customs and traditions, which can be quite similar or completely different. And I'm not just referring to music, art, crafts, and the like. The culture of a place encompasses various aspects of human life, including behaviors and other peculiarities. Today, I'm going to show you some places around the world, from villages to cities, with customs you've probably never seen before. But before we start, how about subscribing to the channel and turning on notifications? This motivates us to keep doing better work for you. To begin, I'm going to talk about a place that doesn't actually have different customs, but is a unique city that you probably haven't seen before. When we think of a city or village, the first image that comes to mind is of a populated area with lots of people. However, about 8 kilometers from the border between the U.S. states of South Dakota and Nebraska, there is a long dirt road that ends in the city of Manawai. This city has an abandoned church, among other buildings that seem unused for a long time. But inside one of the buildings lives a woman named Elsie Eiler, who is a respectable 84 years old. So what makes this city so different? Well, Elsie is the only resident, which makes Manawai a unique city. Besides being the owner, she is the sole attendant of the town's bar, and, according to visitors, serves the best burgers and fries in the region. She also loves to prepare meatballs and offers excellent drinks. At the entrance of the bar, there's a sign that says, "Welcome to the world-famous Manawai Tavern, the coldest beer in town." With only 210 square meters, Manawai is the smallest city in the world and has become a tourist attraction for travelers passing by, thanks to its uniqueness and Elsie's hospitality. She became the only resident of the city when her husband, Rudy, passed away in 2004. Rudy not only left the tavern for Elsie to take care of, but also the rest of the city. Currently, Manawai is the only incorporated place in the United States with just one resident, and Elsie is the mayor, clerk, treasurer, librarian, bartender, and the only person left in the smallest city in the United States. Manawai was founded in 1902 and once had 150 inhabitants. However, with the lack of work and the difficulties of rural life, the residents sought opportunities elsewhere until only Elsie and Rudy remained. Could you handle living alone in a practically ghost town? In India, there is a small village with a custom that I'm sure you've never seen before. Called Piplantry, this village celebrates the birth of a girl in a unique way. For over a decade, the villagers have been working to change the historical view that daughters are a burden to the family. Every time a girl is born, they plant 111 trees, because the village operates under the dowry system, where the bride's family must offer a substantial amount of goods or money to the groom. Having a daughter has always been seen negatively, as the family will have a high expense when she marries. Due to this tradition, the rate of violence against women in the area is extremely high. Some even marry before the age of 18 without receiving proper education. Besides planting a grove for each girl, the village members also create a fund so that in the future, these girls can study without being considered a financial burden to their parents. In Indonesia, there is a village called Bengkala, which for about 6 generations has had an incredible proportion of people born deaf. According to the local people, this high proportion is due to a curse. Scientists, however, say it is all due to a recessive gene passed down from generation to generation, causing 50 babies in the community to be born this way. Unlike other places in the world, of the approximately 3,000 inhabitants of the village, more than half know how to speak Katakolak, a unique sign language that is currently the main means of communication for the deaf people living there. In other words, being deaf in Bengkala is practically a privilege. There, teachers are required to learn sign language, even if they are not deaf. This way, everyone can learn 2 different languages, and education is more inclusive. This could be an example for the rest of the world, right? A model of what it's like to live in a community. A model to follow is the city of Kamikatsu in southwestern Japan. In this place, the residents practically produce no waste. They separate their trash into 45 different categories. In the city center, you can find bins for various types of materials like metal caps, PET bottles, steel cans, aluminum, newspapers, paper, and many more. This might seem like an obsession with waste, but it depends on your perspective. For the inhabitants of Kamikatsu, this is the right way to act, as it helps achieve the community's goal, zero waste. And they are almost there, having already reached an 80% waste reduction rate. A few years ago, the residents disposed of their garbage like any other city, but they realized the need for change. In 2003, the population started the Zero Waste Plan. Initially, it was hard for everyone because nobody was used to washing recyclable trash and separating it into categories. However, the idea worked. Jewelry, clothes, and other items people no longer need are left at the recycling store and exchanged for other items at no cost. There is also a factory where people make crafts from unwanted products. Besides recycling, the waste also generates jobs for the city. In China, there is a city where many men would love to live. Dongguan is a large city with 8 million inhabitants. What stands out is the disproportion between men and women. The lack of men is so significant that it is common for some men to have 3 girlfriends. Why does this happen? The answer is simple. China adopted the one-child policy, forbidding having more than one child. This caused an imbalance between men and women in some regions. In some areas, women aborted when when they discovered they would have male children, while in others, they aborted when they found out they would have female children. In some regions, there are not enough men, while in others, there are not enough women. According to a local women's rights advocacy group, the women pretend not to know they are dating the same man, and many of them are close friends. The custom of polygamy has made Dongguan known as the sex capital. Now, imagine living on an island the size of a football field, housing more than 500 people. This is the reality for those living on Santa Cruz del Islote, off the coast of Colombia. The city was built on a coral reef and is considered the place with the highest population density in the world. There are 115 houses, all very close to one another. There is no electricity grid, running water, cars, or motorcycles. Everyone lives in direct contact with nature and, of course, with their neighbors. The island was established 150 years ago and has a total of 4 main streets and 10 neighborhoods. The only school on the island has 12 teachers who cater to 170 children. And, being on an island, nearly every family owns a boat used to transport trash or travel to a neighboring island where the city's cemetery is located. Without running water, sometimes the island runs out of water in the summer, making the residents depend on a ship to fill the island's well. Even so, thousands of people visit the island every year to learn more about the unique lifestyle of its inhabitants. Finally, let me show you a town known as the Venice of the Netherlands. The village of Giethoorn simply has no roads, at least not like the ones you are used to seeing. It is estimated that the place was built in 1230, and to get around, you need to walk or navigate by boat. The town is filled with canals and has about 180 bridges. Between boat rides, you can find cafes, bars, restaurants, and other charming attractions. The care the residents take with the place makes the town look like something out of a fairy tale. Many even say that Giethoorn is much more beautiful and charming than Venice. These were some villages and towns different from anything you've ever seen. I'll say goodbye here and see you next time. A big hug, bye.